Right, hi guys, this video is a response to a request I received to ask about torrent terminologies and how to make a torrent and relatively fundamental basic concepts like that. So I'm now going to show you what the different things mean and how they work and pretty much how it all works. So for starters, I'm going to resume some torrent, Downton Abbey for example, which I'm going to download, and I'm going to explain some of the fundamental basic things about it. So there are two different basic things you need to understand when you're downloading a torrent. You need to understand your seeders and your peers. So we have seeders here and we have peers. I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my ability to get it across to those of you who don't have any technological background, should I say. So what a seeder is, if we can imagine that we have a file, and this is on one person's computer. I then download that file, or another person downloads that file, and they get that entire file. Now we have two copies of this file on two separate computers. As soon as another person downloads that file, they can take little pieces from each of those seeders. So those people who have those files are classified as seeders. Okay, so in more simple terms, there are 1,000 people who have a complete downloaded file. You then have 1,000 seeders. When you download the file or program or movie or whatever you're downloading, when you download the torrent, you can get 1,000 little pieces at the same time from all of those seeders, who then the file gets combined and put together on your side to form the completed file. Now because of this, obviously, up to a point, based on the number of seeders, you can have a faster or slower download. So if you have a basically unlimited internet speed, so I don't know if you live in America or Britain or whatever, where you have an incredibly fast internet connection, the faster that your download is will be determined on the number of seeders. So the more seeders you have, the faster your download will go. Now, there's another contributing factor that will determine whether or not you will have a fast download, and that is the number of peers. What a peer is the number of people that are also downloading the same file. So a seeder has the completed file uploaded or downloaded, and they're uploading small pieces of it. A peer is someone who's also downloading it. Now a peer can also upload and download at the same time. So here, for example, you can see that I'm downloading the file at 14.5 kilobits per second, which is incredibly slow, and I'm uploading it at 41. So what this means is that I'm downloading, and what I already have, which is, it says here's the total size, and this is what I have downloaded. So I'm uploading part of what I have downloaded. So I've downloaded a total of 1.1 out of 2.78 out of the total file, and I'm now uploading small parts of it to the other peers. Now obviously, if there are more peers than seeders, your download speed is not going to be as good as it could be. So then there's a thing which is a peer to seeder ratio, which is this. So here we can see that there's more, it's seeders to peers, right? So there's more peers than seeders. You don't really need to worry about the ratios and things like that. All you need to know is that if there's more peers than seeders, it's not going to go as fast as what it theoretically could. Now to increase the number of seeders, we're going to need to increase our swarm or our pool. And to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use tracker lists. I have a file which I've comprised, and I have a whole tutorial on it on my channel. There'll be a link in the description on how to use it, and if you use that thing, you can boost your number of seeders. Now if we look here, it says 8 and 21. Now what that means is that we're connected, or now 7, we're connected to 7 out of a possible 21. So the more that we're connected to, obviously, the faster our download will be. But that is completely undetermined by our ability to download it. And what I mean by that is that you won't really be able to affect how many seeders you connect to. Obviously, the more seeders there are, the more you'll be able to connect to, and hence using tracker lists, you'll be able to increase your number of seeders. Now, what a tracker is it's a database basically with a ton of seeders. So the Pirate Bay, for example, or if we went properties, we can see the trackers. Okay, so these are public trackers, and it has a database of all the people with the completed torrent on their computer. Now, when you download the torrent, it then goes and looks for people that have the completed file and then link you in and put the seeders basically. So a tracker is basically a database of people with a completed torrent. So if you add trackers to this, you can increase the number of people in the pool that you can then seed from. So I use that terminology seed from, which is then obviously to download from. So that can be a very good way of boosting your download speed. A few little tricks with uTorrents. I never recommend pausing it because there's no point, unless the only problem with stopping it is that it cuts all the connections to the seeders and to the peers. And now what that means is that it takes a little bit of time to get up and going. But when you pause it, it suspends the connections. And if you look at your resource monitor, it keeps downloading for a while after that's done, which is a real pain. So I recommend just pressing the red button to stop it. You're not going to corrupt your data or stop or lose anything. You just download and stop. It's much easier, much more efficient. Now, I was asked on how to make a torrent as well, and that's an even simpler process. And the way we do that is we'll press File, Create New Torrent. Now, we'll add our directory, which will be our folder that we're going to want to make our torrent, and the trackers, you can leave them as they are. This is making the assumption that you don't want to upload it to, let's say, the Pirate Bay. But if, let's say, you wanted to make a torrent so you can send your friend the torrent and he can download, I don't know, your Word document or whatever, if it exceeds the maximum number or the maximum file size that your email client can support, for example. So we would make our torrent by quickly saying add torrent, add directory, whatever, and we would just press create and save. Now once you've done that, your torrent will be basically done, and you can then send that off to the guy and he'll do that. If you want to upload it to a website, it's a little bit more complex. I recommend that you go and find the tutorial on their website, which basically everyone would have, or the Pirate Bay or whoever, they would have a section saying how to upload a torrent or whatever, and they'll have specified trackers that you got to add, and they'll probably be web seeds, whatever it may be. Just go check it out if you want to upload torrents to particular websites. If you want me to, I'll make a tutorial, I'll figure out how to do it, and I'll show you guys how to do it. But I know just on a basic level, if you want to make a torrent just to send someone a file, this is pretty much the easiest way to do it. Yeah, so we went over some terminologies: seeders, trackers, peers, swarms. Yeah. So I do recommend uTorrent just on a practical level over pretty much any other torrent-based application. BitTorrent's pretty good, but I prefer uTorrent. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. Please comment and subscribe. And if you want me to make any videos, you may request.